Chapter 1. The Call to Adventure. In the sprawling halls of the Intergalactic Diplomacy Office on Earth, a quiet sense of anticipation buzzed in the air. For the first time, the Celestial Alliance, a coalition of powerful alien civilizations, had extended an invitation to Earth, a promising signal that humanity's journey to the stars might officially begin. But there was a catch. To prove Earth's readiness for such a leap, an Earthling had to pass an ancient rite that even most of the Alliance's own members feared: the marissen connection ritual. A tall, rugged man stood among a small gathering of Earth's brightest diplomats and scientists. Ethan Hayes was not the most obvious choice for such a delicate mission. While he was an accomplished xenolinguistics professor with extensive knowledge of alien customs, he was often unorthodox, favoring curiosity over caution. He watched the presentation with a growing mix of excitement and apprehension as the Celestial Alliance's emissary, an elegant, crystalline being named Zalai, explained the ritual. Only a being with an extraordinary capacity for resilience, empathy, and endurance can complete the marissen connection ritual. Zalai's voice echoed, the tone carrying an almost musical resonance. The twins, Lyra and Naya, have requested an Earthling willing to face this test. Your success will secure Earth's place in the Celestial Alliance. Why the twins? Someone asked, breaking the silence. Why these two specifically? Zalai's glowing form shimmered with a hint of emotion. They are unique. In marissen culture, the connection ritual is a profound merging of spirit and mind, one that only those closest can endure. The twins have spent their lives preparing for this, bonding as one soul split between two bodies. They believe that an Earthling's participation may reveal a strength that even their ancestors cannot foresee. A few diplomats shifted uncomfortably. They'd heard rumors of the ritual, whispered tales of those who had failed, their minds unraveling under the strain. Yet Ethan felt something stir within him. Was it curiosity, or a reckless urge to explore the unknown? His mind drifted back to his studies, his fascination with alien languages and customs, and how he'd yearned to experience a genuine exchange with another civilization. "I'll volunteer," Ethan said, stepping forward, his voice steady but firm. Murmurs rippled through the room. Zalai turned to him, her crystalline eyes studying him intently. "Professor Hayes, you understand that this ritual will push you beyond known limits. Physical endurance is merely one aspect. The mind, too, must be prepared to surrender." Ethan nodded. "I've dedicated my life to understanding the unknown. I'm ready." With the decision made, Ethan was whisked through preparations over the following days. He was briefed on Marissa, a planet with harsh landscapes and unique customs. He learned about Lyra and Naya twins whose bond was not just familial but mystical, tethered through a psychic resonance that few understood. As he prepared, a quiet resolve took hold within him. He was leaving Earth, perhaps for good, to take a step into a world where his mind would be as exposed as his body. The briefing officers warned him repeatedly that even those who survived the ritual were never quite the same. But to Ethan, that only added to the allure. The day arrived swiftly, and before he knew it, Ethan was aboard a transport ship bound for Marissa. The journey itself was uneventful, yet the quiet gave Ethan time to reflect. What lay ahead? His only contact with the twins had been through distant glimpses in the briefing holos, their towering forms and sharp features distinct yet gracefully intimidating. He knew that the marissens placed immense weight on rituals, and failure was often seen as dishonor both for the participant and their hosts. Finally, the ship docked, and Ethan was led to a chamber with walls that pulsed with a faint, organic glow. Standing before him were Lyra and Naya, their presence both imposing and strangely soothing. Each was 8 feet tall, their silver-blue skin gleaming under the dim light, and their eyes carried an intensity that made Ethan's heart race. "Welcome, Ethan Hayes," Lyra greeted, her voice a low hum that reverberated in the air. "We have awaited you." Naya, slightly softer in tone, yet just as imposing, added, "The ritual begins at dawn. Tonight, we will prepare. You must understand that to connect with us is to open yourself entirely. There will be no secrets." Ethan nodded, his pulse quickening. "I understand. I'm ready." The night unfolded in quiet discussions, where Ethan learned about marissen culture, the history of the twins, and the significance of the connection ritual. Lyra and Naya shared stories of their clan, tales of unity and shared pain, of battles fought and legends passed down. They revealed that they were the last in a long line chosen to attempt this connection with an outsider. In marissen culture, they were not only bound by blood but by fate. Their lives intertwined so deeply that their thoughts often resonated as one. As midnight approached, Ethan felt a strange energy filling the chamber. The air grew dense, a subtle thrum pulsing in time with his heartbeat. Lyra placed her hand on his shoulder, her fingers cool and firm. "Tonight, you rest. Tomorrow, the true challenge begins." Naya offered him a faint smile, her eyes softening. "Few have dared to come this far, Ethan. Even fewer have survived. But perhaps there is strength in humanity that our people have yet to see." Ethan lay down, closing his eyes, a mix of anticipation and fear simmering within him. The journey had only begun, and already he felt the weight of expectations pressing on him. But as he drifted into a restless sleep, one thought lingered in his mind. He had volunteered to test the boundaries of human potential. Whatever the ritual demanded, he was determined to see it through to the end. Chapter 2. The ritual begins. Ethan awoke at dawn to the soft murmurs of marissen chants. The air around him was thick, almost tangible, humming with a potent energy that seemed to vibrate through his bones. Lyra and Naya stood before him, their hands joined and eyes closed in a meditative trance. The ritual chamber was bathed in soft, bluish light, casting long shadows across the towering stone pillars engraved with ancient marissen symbols. "Are you ready, Ethan Hayes?" Lyra's voice seemed to echo within his mind, bypassing speech entirely. Ethan nodded, swallowing down a flicker of apprehension. "I'm ready." Naya's gaze softened as she took a step closer, reaching out to place her hand on his chest. Her fingers were cool and firm, and the moment they touched, Ethan felt a pulse subtle beat, as though their heartbeats were synchronizing. A gentle pressure grew in his mind, urging him to relax, to surrender his mental barriers. "The connection ritual is a melding of our spirits," Naya explained. "To understand us, you must share in our thoughts, our memories, our very essence. This will not be easy, but do not resist. Let the connection flow naturally, even if it feels overwhelming." Ethan took a deep breath, grounding himself. "I understand. I'll do my best." With that, the ritual began in earnest. Lyra and Naya joined hands with him, their tall forms towering over him as a shimmering aura enveloped the three of them. Ethan felt a surge of energy washing over him, a strange, alien warmth that filled his mind, pulling him into a state somewhere between waking and dreaming. In that state, flashes of memories poured into his mind. He saw fragments of the twins' lives. Lyra training in martial arts on the high cliffs of Marissa, the intense winds whipping her hair as she sparred against Naya, their movements fluid and graceful. He felt Naya's quiet moments of solitude, standing by the shore of Marissa's vast crystalline lakes, her eyes reflecting the starlight as she contemplated the weight of her destiny. But as their memories flooded his mind, Ethan felt more than just images, he felt emotions. The pride Lyra took in her strength, tempered by the loneliness that came with being one of the chosen few. Naya's yearning for freedom, her dreams constrained by the expectations of her culture. Their thoughts, their desires, their fears, they all surged within him, overwhelming his senses until he felt as though he was drowning. "Don't fight it," Lyra's voice echoed softly, grounding him. "Let yourself become a part of us, and allow us to become a part of you." Ethan focused on his breathing, allowing the sensations to flow through him without resistance. The connection grew deeper, like roots intertwining, and he began to sense something new, a shared consciousness, a unity of thought that transcended words. It was as if the three of them were one being, three minds bound by a singular thread. But as they delved deeper, Ethan became aware of a barrier, a faint tension that seemed to resonate from Lyra and Naya. Beneath their composed exteriors, he could feel their guarded thoughts, their doubts about his ability to complete the ritual. He felt compelled to address it, to show them he was committed to this path. You're afraid I'll fail," he said, his voice faint but steady in the psychic space they shared. "You think a human can't handle this?" There was a pause, then Lyra's voice came through, softened by vulnerability. "We do not doubt your courage, Ethan, but the connection ritual is. It is sacred to our people. No outsider has ever endured it. We fear not for ourselves, but for you." Naya's hand tightened slightly around his. "Our memories, our emotions, they are only the surface. As we go deeper, you will face shadows even we cannot fully understand. If your mind falters, there will be no way back." Despite their warnings, Ethan felt a surge of determination. "I came here to experience your world, to understand. I'll see this through, no matter what it takes." A silence fell between them, and then, almost imperceptibly, he felt a shift. The twins relaxed, their guardedness giving way as they opened themselves fully to him. The connection deepened, the psychic link solidifying as they moved beyond the surface memories, sinking into the darker, more complex realms of each other's minds. In an instant, Ethan found himself standing within a vast, dreamlike landscape. Towering monolithic structures surrounded him, carved with marissen glyphs that glowed faintly. The air was thick with a sense of history, of ancient echoes whispering secrets in a language he barely understood. Lyra and Naya appeared beside him, their forms slightly translucent in the shifting light of this mental landscape. "This is the heart of the connection," Naya explained, her voice soft yet powerful. "Here, we are not bound by the constraints of our bodies. Our thoughts, our memories, they blend and flow like rivers. But beware, Ethan. The deeper we go, the more we confront our truest selves. There are things here, things even we fear." Ethan nodded, feeling the weight of her words, but he pressed on, drawn forward by an unshakable curiosity. As they moved, the scenery changed, morphing into fragments of memories and emotions, places both familiar and foreign to the twins. They passed visions of their childhood, moments of joy and sorrow, of laughter and loss. Ethan saw them training side by side, facing the unrelenting demands of their elders, striving to become the best, to carry the legacy of their people. But as they ventured deeper, a darkness began to seep into the landscape. Shadows coiled at the edges of his vision, growing stronger, more insistent. Ethan could feel the twins' fear, their hesitation. There was something hidden here, something they had never confronted, deep, ancient sorrow that weighed upon their souls. And then, it appeared before them a vision of a great, somber figure, an ancestor of their clan whose face was etched with lines of wisdom and sorrow. The ancestor's gaze was piercing, and Ethan felt a chill run down his spine as the figure seemed to look directly into his soul. "You dare enter the heart of the connection, Earthling?" The ancestor's voice rumbled, deep and resonant. "Do you truly believe you are worthy of this bond, of becoming one with our blood?" Ethan swallowed, but he held his ground. "I came here to learn, to connect. I don't claim to be worthy, but I'm willing to prove myself." The ancestor's gaze flickered with a mix of disdain and intrigue. "Very well, human. But know this: our bond is not a gift, but a test. You must endure the weight of our legacy, the burden of our shared pain. Only then will you be worthy of our trust." With that, the ancestor's figure dissolved into shadows, and the landscape around them began to shift once more. The memories became darker, heavier, as Ethan was plunged into the depths of the twins' fears and insecurities. He saw flashes of their struggles, their battles against expectations, the weight of their destiny pressing down upon them like an unyielding force. But amidst the darkness, he felt their resilience, the quiet strength they shared, the bond that held them together through every hardship. And in that moment, he realized that their connection was not a test of endurance, but of empathy, of understanding. Ethan reached out, extending his thoughts, his emotions, his very being. He showed them his own struggles, his own fears and dreams, laying himself bare within the shared space of their minds. He offered them his compassion, his willingness to shoulder their burdens, to be a part of their world. And slowly, the shadows began to recede. The landscape grew lighter, softer, as the weight of their shared pain gave way to a sense of unity, of harmony. Lyra and Naya looked at him, their expressions softened by gratitude and a newfound respect. You have done what no other has," Lyra murmured, her voice filled with awe. "You have embraced us, understood us, as few ever could." Naya smiled, a warmth radiating from her that Ethan had never seen before. "You are truly one of us now, Ethan. You are bound to us, not by blood, but by spirit." As the ritual drew to a close, Ethan felt a profound sense of peace, of connection, unlike anything he had ever experienced. He knew that he had not only passed the test but had forged a bond that would endure across worlds, a bridge between Earth and the stars. Chapter 3. Testing the Limits. As the light of the ritual chamber dimmed, Ethan found himself in an even deeper state of the shared connection, a place beyond the conscious mind where time seemed to stretch and distort. The environment around them felt ethereal, like the surface of a lake rippling under the pull of unseen forces. He was aware of Lyra and Naya beside him, their psychic energy intertwining with his, yet the depths they had reached now held a dark, unpredictable edge. "Brace yourself, Ethan," Naya's voice murmured through the link, filled with an uncharacteristic tremor. "What lies ahead is the final stage of the ritual, the Trial of Shadows." Lyra's presence pressed against his, a steadying anchor amidst the swirling darkness. The Trial of Shadows tests not only our bond but our ability to confront the shadows of our past. The connection draws out our deepest fears, our regrets, and magnifies them. Ethan's heart beat faster, yet he nodded resolutely, determined to see this through. "I'm ready. Whatever comes, we'll face it together." But as they stepped forward into the mist-like void, a sudden chill permeated the space. Shadows swirled around them, whispering in an unintelligible language, and Ethan felt a weight settle on his shoulders, pressing down as if to test his resolve. The first vision manifested before them an image of Lyra and Naya as children, standing in the presence of their clan's elders, who loomed over them with stern faces. In the scene, young Lyra trained with unrelenting determination, struggling to meet the expectations of her people, while Naya watched, her heart torn between loyalty and a desire for freedom. Ethan felt the twins' emotions flood his mind, the frustration, the pressure, the helplessness. Lyra's fierce pride and dedication to her people warred with Naya's yearning to escape the confines of tradition. The scene shifted, revealing years of their lives, filled with harsh training, bruises, exhaustion, and the constant burden of representing their clan's honor. "These are the shadows of our past," Lyra's voice whispered, laced with pain. "Every moment, every sacrifice, every expectation we've endured for the sake of our people. They haunt us." Ethan could feel the weight of their sorrow, their suppressed emotions pressing down on his chest. But he reached out, his mind brushing against theirs with a gentle reassurance. "You were never meant to carry this alone. I'm here now. We face this together." At his words, the vision faded, but not completely. The darkness grew thicker, the air colder, as if something ancient and malevolent had been awakened by their defiance. Before them, another vision formed, towering figure, an elder ancestor, whose eyes burned with an intense, almost unnatural light. The ancestor's presence was overwhelming, radiating an aura of judgment and power. "You have dared to bond with an outsider," the ancestor's voice boomed, filling the void. "You, who were chosen to uphold our clan's purity, have broken the sacred traditions. And this Earthling, does he think himself worthy?" Ethan stepped forward, squaring his shoulders as he met the ancestor's piercing gaze. "I came here to understand, to connect. I've shared your pain, your memories, and I haven't backed down. I am worthy, because I am willing to stand beside them, no matter what trials we face." The ancestor's expression twisted, a mixture of anger and reluctant respect. "Bold words, Earthling, but mere words cannot prove your worth." The vision shifted, and Ethan suddenly felt a sharp, stabbing pain in his mind, as though a vice were squeezing his thoughts, testing the strength of his resolve. He gritted his teeth, refusing to break. Even as memories of his own life began to surface, visions of his childhood, his struggles, the moments of loneliness he'd faced in his pursuit of knowledge. He saw flashes of the sacrifices he'd made, the friendships he'd lost, the isolation he'd endured. His own shadows intertwined with those of Lyra and Naya, their combined pain amplifying within the shared link. Naya's voice broke through the turmoil, strained but unwavering. "Ethan, focus. You are not alone. Remember, we are connected." Summoning every ounce of strength, Ethan reached out to Lyra and Naya through the bond, drawing on their presence as an anchor. Together, they pushed back against the darkness, their unity creating a powerful surge of energy that pushed the shadows away. But the ancestors' form remained, watching them with an inscrutable expression. You have shown resilience, Earthling, but this is not enough. You must understand what it means to bear the legacy of our people, to carry the burden of our clan's honor. The ancestor raised a hand, and suddenly Ethan found himself standing alone in a barren wasteland. The twins were nowhere to be seen, and he felt a wave of isolation wash over him, a cold, empty void that gnawed at his soul. Lyra! Naya! He called out, his voice echoing into the empty expanse. Panic threatened to consume him, but he forced himself to focus, to remember the connection they'd forged. He closed his eyes, reaching out with his mind, calling to the twins through the bond they'd established. A faint warmth blossomed within him, a flicker of light that grew stronger as he concentrated. Slowly, he felt the presence of Lyra and Naya return, their energy merging with his, filling the void with a comforting warmth. You are not alone, Ethan, Lyra's voice whispered, steady and resolute. We are with you, always. Naya's voice joined hers, a gentle, soothing presence. Together, we are stronger than any shadow, any fear. With their combined strength, Ethan felt the wasteland around him begin to shift, the darkness receding as their connection grew stronger, solidifying into an unbreakable bond. The ancestors' form reappeared, watching them with a contemplative gaze. You have proven your worth, Earthling, the ancestor finally said, his tone softened. You have shown the courage to face our people's legacy, to endure our pain and our pride. You are bound to them now, and they to you. The bond you share is sacred, forged through trials and strengthened by understanding. The ancestors' form faded, and the darkness dissolved, leaving them standing in the ritual chamber once more. Ethan felt a profound sense of relief and exhaustion wash over him, his mind and body weary from the ordeal. Yet, within him, he felt a newfound strength, a sense of unity that transcended words. Lyra and Naya looked at him, their expressions softened by a mixture of gratitude and admiration. You have done what no other has, Ethan, Lyra murmured. You have embraced our shadows, shared in our pain, and emerged stronger. You are truly one of us. Naya's eyes shimmered with emotion as she took his hand. Our bond is eternal, a connection that cannot be broken. We are family, bound by spirit and by heart. Ethan felt a warmth spread through him, a feeling of belonging that he had never known. In that moment, he realized that he had not only passed the ritual but had found a place among the stars, a bond that would carry him through any trial. Chapter 4. The Unbreakable Bond. As the ritual chamber's light returned to a calm glow, Ethan took a deep breath, feeling a serene clarity. The bond he now shared with Lyra and Naya was unlike anything he had ever experienced, a connection that went beyond mere words or shared experiences. Their minds, their souls, were entwined in a way that defied explanation, a testament to the power of trust and vulnerability. The twins stood beside him, their expressions softened by the intensity of the ordeal they just endured together. Lyra's gaze held a newfound warmth, her fierce resolve tempered by admiration, while Naya's gentle smile radiated a deep gratitude that resonated through their shared link. You have done what no Earthling has ever done, Ethan, Lyra said, her voice carrying an uncharacteristic tremor. You have crossed the barrier of our minds, of our very being. We are bound to you now, as you are to us. Naya took a step closer, her silver-blue skin reflecting the soft light. Our people will recognize this bond. You have proven that humanity is worthy of standing with us, not just as allies but as kin. At that moment, Zalae, the crystalline emissary of the Celestial Alliance, entered the chamber. Her form glowed with an iridescent light, her eyes reflecting both curiosity and awe. Professor Hayes, the Alliance has been monitoring your progress. You have achieved something extraordinary. The Marissen elders have granted their approval, and Earth's place in the Celestial Alliance is assured. Ethan felt a rush of relief and pride, yet he knew this accomplishment was not his alone. He glanced at Lyra and Naya, feeling their emotions echoing through the bond they shared. Together, they had forged a path forward, one that would unite not just their worlds but open doors for future connections, breaking down the walls that once divided species across the stars. But as the ceremony concluded, a quiet realization dawned on him. He had come to understand Lyra and Naya, to share in their struggles and dreams, and in the process, he had found a part of himself he never knew existed. The life he had once led on Earth, his academic pursuits and solitary days, now seemed distant, almost like a memory from another lifetime. Zalaye's voice broke his reverie. "Your mission is complete, Professor Hayes. You may return to Earth with honor, should you choose to do so. But be aware, your bond with Lyra and Naya is permanent. You will always carry a part of them within you." Ethan's heart skipped a beat. The idea of returning to his old life, of leaving this connection behind, seemed almost unthinkable. He looked at Lyra and Naya, sensing the quiet question in their minds, unspoken uncertainty, the fear of farewell. Lyra's eyes met his, fierce yet vulnerable. "You have a choice, Ethan, to stay with us, to explore this bond and all it means, or to return to Earth, to live your life as it once was." Naya's hand found his, her fingers cool and steady. "Whatever you choose, know that we are with you, always." Ethan took a deep breath, the weight of the decision settling upon him. He thought of his life on Earth, his friends, his career. Yet the bond he shared with Lyra and Naya was something that transcended all he'd known, a connection that had changed him in ways he was only beginning to understand. "I came here to understand, to connect," Ethan said, his voice soft but resolute. "And now, I can't imagine leaving. This bond we share. It's a part of me now, as you both are. If you'll have me, I would stay. Not as an outsider, but as one of you." Lyra's gaze softened, and Naya's smile brightened with joy, a silent acknowledgement of the choice he had made. In that moment, the connection they shared deepened, solidifying into something unbreakable, a promise, a commitment, a journey they would walk together. Zalaye inclined her head in respect. "Then it is decided. You will remain on Marissa, as a bridge between your people and ours. The Celestial Alliance will welcome Earth as one of us, with you as a symbol of our unity." As the light in the chamber grew warmer, filling the space with a sense of peace and belonging, Ethan felt a profound sense of fulfillment. He had not only passed the test but had found a new purpose, a new family, among the stars. Together, they stepped out of the ritual chamber, their spirits intertwined, ready to face whatever the future held. Ethan knew that challenges lay ahead, but with Lyra and Naya by his side, he was no longer alone. He had become a part of something greater, a connection that would carry him across worlds, binding Earth and Marissa in a way that would echo for generations to come.